Welcome back to the Tournament Center. I'm Randy Buehler here with Brian David-Marshall. We've just finished round 6. The cut to day 2 has happened. Where was the bloodbath? You told me there was going to be a bloodbath.
It was potentially a bloodbath.
It was potentially a bloodbath.
I also thought Astral Steel was going to be a bloodbath and limited, and it never quite panned out that way. So, you know.
There were a couple of interesting eliminations. Jeff Cunningham got knocked out. Jeffrey Cerrone lost his match to Bernardo da Costa Cabral. But other than that, and one feature match that we're about to talk about, pretty much everybody went through. Andre Coimbra got through. Your boy top-decked Conflagrate in extra turns to advance. Carlos Ramao, Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa. Herbert Holtz won it with his back against the wall. Tiago Chan.
Pierre Canali.
Tsuyoshi Fujita. Pierre Canali, Julian Naughton, Paul Cheon, and Luis Scott Vargas. And Ben Rubin got through in a bubble match as well.
Four of my top 8 picks from my column
had their back against the
wall.
All
had their back against the wall, yeah.
Meanwhile, we did have 3 bubble matches in the feature match area, so let's talk about those. The first one featured Frank Carsten. Carsten playing against Jürgen Hahn, a Canadian player who's roommates with Rich Owen.
He was roommates with Richie Owen. He practiced with Rich Owen for this event.
Okay.
He's a former Canadian national champion.
Right.
A fairly formidable player who's come back to playing the game recently, and, you know, he's working with Rich.
Sure.
So, you know, he's
Was it good enough to help him against Carsten?
Boy, it wasn't. He went down a game, and they bogged down in game 2, and maybe a little tournament rust was there because maybe he could have played the game a little more quickly.
Okay.
Or
so they just ran out of time in game 2.
And they ran out of time in game 2. I mean, Frank is not what's the polite term we use? Deliberate. Deliberate player. In the game. Yeah, the game just didn't have enough time to conclude. And
so Carsten wins 1-0 in that feature match. The next feature match we watched had Shuhei Nakamura taking on David Grant.
The Great White Hype from England.
The Great White Hype, there you go. What happened there?
David Grant just mauled him.
Yeah?
He just mauled him. David was playing green-red. Shuhei was playing like white-green-red. And David just kept playing guys, and guys were coming off suspend, and he just kept swinging. And I was like, what'd you kill him with there? You know, I walked away for 1 second. I came back, and he's just like, guys, you know, he just overwhelmed Shuhei. Shuhei did use Shuhei had like a shot in game 1 with a tectonic fiend, but it just wasn't enough.
Shuhei Nakamura has been eliminated, probably the most notable elimination.
Sure, that's a pretty inauspicious way to start off your Pro Tour season. You know, right. Shuhei talked in the video piece we did earlier about wanting to get to level 5 or level 6 this year.
Right.
You know, it's a little bit of a steep. He's not on the bunny trail now for that trip.
The last feature match we had featured a guy who had his back against the wall the whole day. He went 0-2, you know, lost his first game in round 3, had to just win out, ended up down a game, keeping a 1-land draw. You can read more about it from Scott Johns, but let's take a look at him. Olivier Ruel is back. He pulled it off. He took down Rasmus Sebast in the feature match area, goes from 0-2 to 4-2. And welcome back to the Pro Tour, Olivier Ruel. He is through to day 2. He's
back, and maybe he's looking to top Kenji. Everyone made a big deal, right? The last limited Pro Tour.
Have you seen the standings?
Well, I just meant Kenji went 4-2, 4-3, and then went on an 8-0 run.
Oh, all right.
Now, if Olivier puts together a run, he's starting with a 4-0 today.
Kenji does not have his back against the wall this time.
No? How's Kenji doing?
6-0.
Wow.
Joined at 6-0 by Takuya Usawa, the Prague champion.
Winner from Prague.
Joined by John Sunne, an American player who's always
won a few limited Grand Prix over the past couple of years, and is actually, despite all the talk about American players, I mean, his game has been consistently improving too. He's learned to play a little more quickly, actually, and that seems to be a big difference.
Another American, Mike Rahn, who was on the tour back in the 90s, hasn't really been around a lot lately.
Player,
right?
Worked with Brian Kowal and
sort of Bob Maher's circle of friends. Yeah. So H-Ron, as they call him, is 6-0, and Willie Edel is the other 6-0 as well.
Willie Edel, I mean, how impressive.
How about that?
How impressive.
He's gone back-to-back second places at Pro Tours, right? I mean, don't count Worlds, the last 2 Pro Tours.
I mean, and why not count Worlds? Just when you want to talk about how impressive he is, didn't he finish top 24 or top 16? I mean, he was in the money at Worlds again.
All right,
so, all of his Pro Tour experience has been just remarkable. So.
Yeah. It's true. Looks like the player meeting just ended. These guys have made the cut to day 2, so we know who's going to get to keep playing, but the way the schedule works out, in order to fit in 5 full drafts and 15 rounds of play, they're actually going to do the 3rd draft tonight. They're going to play 1 round. They'll play round 7, then we'll call it a day. Come back tomorrow, there'll be 8 rounds, so the last 2 rounds, draft in 3, draft in 3.
And they play 1 round of don't lose your deck overnight.
Yeah. Do not lose your deck overnight. That's exactly right. So I want to take a good look at the 3rd draft. We'll be back with more coverage from the Tournament Center. We'll bring you some conversation about draft number 3, so stay tuned.